Hey guys, it's All-Star and welcome to another Minecraft mod spotlight video. Today we're going to take a look at the Atomic Science mod, and I'm going to show you guys every little thing about it so you guys can be masters at it. So this is kind of like going to be a long tutorial about Atomic Science. Of course, it's a spotlight though. So yeah, we want to go over to the Atomic Science tab, and this should be the latest version. So this is a version for 1.5. So if you're using a later version, it's probably going to be different. So I'll probably have an updated video for that. So make sure you check my channel for that if you're from the future. But anyway, what am I doing? We want to take a look at the ores and pretty much the basic stuff you should get first before you get started with this mod. So the first thing first is we want to get the uranium, of course, but you can see that it spawns these particles, and this actually gives off a poison effect. If you're around this block, it could poison you with radiation. If you pick it up, it could also poison you, and if you're holding it, it could probably occasionally poison you. So how do we combat this? We want to get ourselves a hazmat boots, leggings, body, and helmet or mask. And these are pretty simple to make. You just need to get yourself a pretty good amount of wool and leather, and you need to get yourself redstone, copper, and of course some bronze and steel. So you're going to need, I recommend getting a metallurgic infuser because you're going to be making a lot of these basic circuits. So if we go back here, you can see that we have a leather tunic instead right here, and the same with the pants is pants, and the same with the boots, just some leather boots. So you need to get yourself some cows and sheep, of course. So yeah, once you get this, you're pretty much set to go. I already have one on, so we actually don't need this stuff. So let me get rid of it real quick, and we'll move on to the next thing here. So this is the uranium. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the fission reactor. And in order to get started with the fission reactor, you're going to need to get yourself some blocks. You're going to need to get yourself first a nuclear boiler, and you need to get yourself a centrifuge. These two together will make this enriched uranium right here, which is used to fuel the fission reactor. The nuclear boiler will make stuff called, if we place it down, if I place this down real quick, you can see there's a meter for water, and there's a spot right here for the either the ore, the uranium ore, or yellow cake, which we'll get to in a second. And then there's a meter bar right here for uranium hexafluoride. So you process this stuff, and it will give you this uranium hexafluoride, which can be used in the centrifuge to make your enriched uranium. So in order to actually power this, we're going to need to set up some stuff for the water. Since I like to use fluid mechanics to fill this up instead of buckets, I mean, you could use buckets, but that takes a while. I'm going to set it up with fluid mechanics real quick, so yeah, I'll be right back. Okay guys, I have a battery box over here with an infinite battery, and this is hooked up to a fluid mechanics this is called a pump, and it's getting powered from the battery box from the back, and it's actually pumping out water from this infinite spring, and it's going to fill up the nuclear boiler. As you can see, we're completely full, and we also plug this up to the power supply, so this is also getting power. So if we put, let's say, uranium in this, it will actually process it, as you can see right here, and it will turn it into this uranium hexafluoride. So if we give this a second, this will fill up, I believe it's 0.4 DM3, and I don't know what DM3 stands for, but that's what you'll get. So you get 0.4 DM3 per uranium. You can actually get more out of your uranium if you process it into yellow cake, but we'll get to that in a second. How do we actually get this uranium hexafluoride out of the machine, though, and into the centrifuge? Because you can't actually put a bucket here. It won't fill up. So we need to either pipe it over to the machine using a pipe in between, and you could use any of these fluid mechanics pipes. You can use any of the black, red, green. It doesn't really matter what you use. Or you can actually just use the vanilla way for Atomic Science by just placing the centrifuge right next to it. And if we open this up, you will see that it's been moved over to the centrifuge. See, it's gone now. Okay, so now we have the stuff inside the centrifuge. Pretty much all you really need for this is uranium hexafluoride, and it will process it into uranium. So all we need to do is grab some wire and hook it up to this, and then it will start processing it right here. And this actually takes quite some time to turn into uranium, so you're gonna be waiting a while for the uranium to process. But anyway, we'll skip ahead, and we'll just grab some of the stuff that we'll actually get out of it. We will get one of these right here, uranium 235, not the 238. Remember, they're different. Okay, so now that we have this is the fuel for it. We can actually get started by building the actual fission reactor. So let's head over to the we're already here. Let's grab a fission reactor, and we're going to need electromagnet. No, actually not for this one, but for the fission reactor, we actually need some redstone, some sticky pistons. Actually one sticky piston, and we're going to need to get ourselves a control rod to control the temperature of this, and we're going to need to get a thermometer to detect what temperature it's at. And just for kicks and giggles, we're going to mess around with the siren. I'll show you guys how that works. And I believe that's pretty much all we need. We need to grab ourselves a bucket of water, because what fission and fusion reactors do, they actually produce steam using heat and water. So we need to get water to, you know, of course, produce the steam. And if we go back here, I'm going to do one more check here. We're going to get a good amount of this stuff so we can power it. And I believe that's all we're going to need for this. So we're going to head on over to this, and we're going to start constructing the fission reactor. It's a pretty simple block, so you guys shouldn't have a hard time with it. So first thing first, we're going to place it down, and then we're going to build a 5x5 ring around it so that there's a 3x3 space in the center. Alright, and we're going to build this up 2 blocks, like so. Let me make it morning real quick so we don't have to be in the dark. And then from there, we're going to add a thermometer next to it. I'm just going to throw it right here, and then we can break this block out and we'll be able to see the temperature. Okay, and then right here, we're going to break a block down, actually 2 blocks. We're going to take a sticky piston and a control rod, and when the sticky piston comes up, the control rod's going to be right next to it like so, and it will actually control the temperature. Okay, and I'll show you guys all the recipes when I'm done crafting this. It's actually pretty simple stuff. Alright, so we want to set this thermometer to about 1800. That's a safe number. 1900 will do it too, actually. So you can see that this goes up pretty high to 5000. 2000 is the limit for the fission reactor. If it's over 2000, or if it gets to 2000, it could blow up on you, so be careful. I'm going to set it to 1900 though. Alright, and we're actually going to use redstone for this, because with the thermometer, when it reaches that certain temperature, it's going to output a redstone signal. So we're going to branch this around right here, and we want it to be hooked up to this. So we're going to bring that down, and now the piston will be powered when this reaches its temperature. Alright, cool. And I think that's pretty much all you need to do. I'm actually going to open this up right here so we can actually get inside of here. But for now, I need to close it up so I can place the water. So let's do that real quick. Alright, so we just need to place water in all these blocks, like so. And we're going to bring it up. Alright, and that should do it. There we go. And then I'm going to break this out. Alright, and then you can insert your fuel right here. But we're not done yet. We actually need to get ourselves some wiring and some, let's see, wiring is in the, we're going to use the electric expansion, we're going to use the HV wire because those are pretty nice, and we're going to use an energy cube from mechanism to hold this, and these hold a pretty good amount. They hold 100 megajoules, so that's pretty cool. And actually, before I move on to that stuff, I'm going to show you guys the recipes for this. So to make a fission reactor, you pretty much need to get yourself some steel plates, to be more specific. You need to get yourself some advanced circuits, which is going to require some diamonds and some basic circuits and redstone. So make sure you're ready for that. And we'll go back real quick. And you're going to need to get some motors, which use steel, iron, and wire. So, and on top of that, you're going to need to get yourself 2 motors. Oh wait, we already talked about that. You're going to need to get yourself an empty cell, which is just 4 tin, and you'll get 8 out of that. So that's pretty cool. And then in order to craft a control rod, you pretty much just need 2 iron, and you'll get 1. That's pretty cheap, actually. And you guys know how to get that stuff. Thermometer is all steel, and a thermometer, which is actually a handheld version of the thermometer. We'll get to that in a second once we actually get the fission reactor going. And to craft one of these, you need glass, steel, and a basic circuit. Pretty simple. And then we'll actually grab this siren real quick, and we're going to throw it down next to this redstone signal right here. So when this thermometer reaches the temperature, it's going to output redstone, and this will actually activate the siren. So let's say you don't have a control rod yet, which I don't know why you wouldn't, because they're pretty cheap. This will tell you when this is going to blow up or what. So I don't really know if that's helpful or not, but the siren's pretty cool. It makes a nice like sound. For those who know what ICBM is, ICBM, I think that's, let's see, ICBM, the explosive mod. I always get two letters mixed up or something. Do I even have that installed? I should. Where's my explosives mod at? What the hell? Oh, there it is. ICBM, yeah. There's some blocks in here that actually make the same sound as the siren, which is pretty cool. But anyway, that's all you really need to do. Next thing you need to do is you need to hook up some power stuff. So we're going to get rid of all these blocks. We don't need them anymore. We're going to head back over here. Or actually, we're going to, yeah, we need to get ourselves some reactor turbines. Reactor turbines are actually pretty simple to make. You need 4 bronze plates and a motor. You're actually going to need 9 of these. And I'm going to show you a neat trick with them in a second with the wrench. And that's pretty much, I think that's all we really need. Okay. So I'm going to place down 9 on top of here. I'm going to put one right there so I can get it over the water. And so you want to place a 3x3 on top of the water. And these will actually start, these will actually start turning when steam is being generated. And if we have 3x3 like this, we can right click them and turn it into a giant one like so. And I believe this isn't working for some reason. I think we have to click the middle. Okay, yeah, click the middle, right click the middle, and it will turn it into a giant one. And then you take your wire and you put it on the centerpiece, like so, and then you can bring it over to the side and down. And we're in a bad spot, but we'll just move it right here. Okay, so we want it to be connected to any of the green sides. Remember, black is the output, and this will start generating electricity once we put fuel into it. So now we'll throw fuel inside of this fission reactor, if we can get to it. Is it not going to work for me? What? Oh, I forgot. You actually can't put these inside the fission reactor. We actually have to craft these into fissile fuel rods. I'm used to the old version, by the way, so if you're wondering why the hell I just derped out for a second, then that's why. Okay, so we need to get ourselves fissile fuel rods, and I'll show you guys how to craft these. They actually don't stack. You can only carry one at a time. In order to craft one, you need to get yourself 3 uranium-235, and you need to get yourself 6 empty cells, and then you'll get yourself a fissile fuel rod. So if we come over here and we right-click the fission reactor with one of these, we can actually start it. And you can see the, I don't know if you saw through the water, but the thermometer actually started going up in degrees. And the hotter this gets, the more steam it will produce, and the faster this will spin. And if we watch this, you can kind of hear it too. It makes a turbine noise. It goes, and there it goes. It's starting to spin. If we come down to the battery box, you could see, oops, I got the wrong one here. I didn't buy it. I got the wrong one. I don't know why I said bought. We need to grab an empty one so we can get the full effect here. Alright, so if we look at this, you can see it's starting to generate power. And like I said, the higher this gets, the faster the energy we produce will go. So that was a terrible sentence. The more energy we'll get once we get, this going pretty quickly. So, and this should shoot up once we actually get this to a certain temperature. So I'll actually cut to that point. Okay, guys, we are 200 Celsius or degrees Celsius away. I am not used to Celsius. I live in America, so I use Fahrenheit. But anyway, we're at 1800. This will go off, and the fuel rod should shoot up once we get to that number. So let's see. Starting to spin really fast here. As you can see, we're getting a lot of power. Not a lot. I prefer using the fusion reactor, but this is also cool to mess with. We are almost there. We're 40 away, so this is going to get real interesting in a second. Now, I don't think it's going to blow up below 2,000, but I think 2,000 is the max. So be careful with your fission reactors because they could explode on you. And it looks like it's actually staying at a constant rate here. You can hear the water getting all bubbly and stuff. If we come over here, we can actually see the bubbles, and we could see the steam particles, which is pretty cool. And we are going really slow for some reason. I'm gonna move this down to 1800, and you will see it's gonna start doing this siren thing, and it's gonna shoot the fuel rod up, or not the fuel rod, but the control rod. And then you will see that this will actually start going down. Yep, There we go. And I'm going to remove this because it's annoying. But yeah, that's what the control rod does. And if we come over here, you can see the piston is up, and you'll see that the rod is now up as well. So this is going to cool down the fission reactor. Okay, so the next thing we want to get into is the fusion reactor. And in order to get a fusion reactor, we actually need to get a centrifuge, not centrifuge, a chemical extractor. So if we come over here and we go to this tab, we can see there's a thing called a chemical extractor. And we're going to need to get ourselves some empty cells. And if we come over here, we can actually just hook this up. I'm going to break that and just put it right here. It's hooked up to this now, and it's actually going to fill it up because there's also a water meter on this. And we're also going to supply some power to it. Alright, and let's make a date real quick. Alright, so now we have power and we have water. So if we put empty cells inside of here, it's actually going to use water and the empty cells to create a thing called a deuterium cell. And deuterium is the product of water. It's actually extracted from water. So deuterium cells are actually used to power the fusion reactor, which we're going to build right now. So we're going to let this do its thing. And we're going to come over here and build a fusion reactor. So in order to build a fusion reactor, we're going to need to get some things. We're going to need to get those turbines again. We're going to need to actually get a fusion reactor. We are going to need to get ourselves some electromagnets and some electromagnet glass. I believe you can actually just use the electromagnets, but I like to use the glass so you can actually see what's going on. It's pretty cool. And we are going to grab, I believe we need some pistons. I like using the piston thing because it allows you to have some control over your design. We only need regular pistons, so don't worry about getting sticky pistons. And we're going to need to get a lever, and we're going to need some water, and then a building block, of course. So that should fill up your entire hotbar. So I like to go off the ground with these, so I'm going to go up at least 4 blocks, and then I'm going to remove those and place down the fusion reactor in the center. And from there, what we want to do is we want to take some electromagnets and we want to build a ring around this, like so. Alright, and then we want to go a block out, get rid of this one, and then we want to go another ring around it, like so. This is actually a pretty simple thing to build. At first I thought this was kind of hard to build, but it gets easy. I memorized it, so it's pretty cool design. Alright, and then after that we want to do another ring. We want to do a ring on top of this right here. I know this looks bad, but let's see. There we go, like that. We want to build that on top, and we also want to put one on the bottom. And in the end, you're actually going to need 64 electromagnets, which will turn into 32 electromagnet glass and 32 regular electromagnets. So you need to get yourself a stack, and these are pretty expensive. We'll take a look at the recipe once we're done building this. Alright, so we need to just... There we go, we're almost done here. Alright, make sure there's no gaps because there's this thing called plasma, and if I come over here to the fusion reactor thing, right here it's called plasma. This stuff will actually set your world on fire, so I'm going to place one. You can see it just made fire. And so if you have a hole, it will actually pour out, and yeah, you don't want that. Let's just say that, because trust me, you don't want your world on fire. So there you go, that's pretty much what you're going to need for the electromagnets and the fusion reactor. And then you can come over under here and actually access this. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we're going to want to take our building block, which I got rid of, and we're going to want to build platforms like this. 2 by 5 on each side. Pretty much line it up with the glass. And on top of these we are going to put our pistons. And the pistons will be used to control the water current so we can actually shut off the device or shut off the generation of the power. Now, I actually don't use this functionality, but I just like to have it anyway, just in case I ever want to shut it off. So you can actually completely ignore this part if you want to. We're going to put the pistons like this, so you're going to need to get yourself 20 pistons, and make sure you don't place them the wrong way. Alright, and then after that we're going to want to fill in this like this, so there's no gaps. And you want to fill in the corners right here, so that there's so that it can't flow this way, because we're going to be putting water into this Okay, and then we want to finish off the last side here. So after that, what we want to do is we want to build this up another block. So we need to do another ring around this. Alright, and on top of this, we're going to use redstone, and that's going to be used to power the pistons beneath it. And the pistons are going to control the water current. So once we're done with this, and this actually makes it easier to set up the water, but it doesn't really matter what you do, as long as you set it up properly. Alright, and then we're going to put redstone on top, like I said, and we're going to need to grab some repeaters as well, because this is actually not going to go around all the way. And I'm going to cut it off right up here, because we actually don't need to finish this off, because you could see that's the last piston. Alright, I'm going to turn it on now, and you will see that it cuts off right over here, so we need to grab ourselves a repeater. Alright, so we'll break that off, put it right there. We'll come around, place one right here, and there we go. Now it's completely powered. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to put our turbines in. So we want to put the turbines like this. So you're going to need 20 turbines, so make sure you get yourself a pretty good amount of bronze, because you're going to be crafting a bunch of motors. Okay, so, and underneath this will be the water. Once we pull the pistons back, the water will flow down underneath it, and the heat will generate from these electromagnets and will create steam, which will power whatever we want. So there we go. Last thing we do is we fill in the water. So we're going to do that real quick, like so. Alright, so center, there we go. Use the infinite spring method if you're in survival, because you won't want to be going down to get a bunch of water. So there we go. It should work now. Last thing that this thing's going to need is it's going to need a source of power. Now, unlike the fission reactor, this needs a little bit of power to actually get it going. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, that's stupid. Why would I want to do that? This is supposed to make me power. Well, it will. It's going to use a little bit of energy, and then it's going to make a lot of energy with that energy. So we're going to grab ourselves an HV wire. We're going to get rid of some of this stuff that we don't need anymore. We'll take a look at the recipes in a second. And we're going to need to grab ourselves an ultimate energy cube. Actually, yeah, we'll use that in a second, but we also want to get ourselves a battery box. And for now, we'll use an infinite battery because this is a tutorial / spotlight, so we will just do this. So we're going to bring it over. We're going to place this down on the black, so we want to do it like that. All right, and then we're going to throw this in. So now it's getting a supply of power. And all we need to do is we need to use the fuel we got from the chemical extractor. So let's head over to the chemical extractor, which is still working actually. And we'll grab the little bit of deuterium cell we got. So we need to take that out of our inventory, come over here, and we're going to throw it into this machine. So you can see it instantly filled up with plasma. That's because we have an infinite supply of energy shooting into this. The less energy you have, the slower this will go. So make sure you get a good supply of energy. On my Let's Play, I just use a solar generator, so that should do just fine. And then these turbines up here will actually start to spin. So what we want to do is we want to actually connect them to each other like so. I'm using the HV wire, which is a little expensive, but it's worth it. You'll lose less energy. You could use copper, which like I did in my Let's Play, but I recommend you use HV. So now that we have these all connected, we're going to bring it down, and we'll bring it down right over here next to this other energy cube. So we're going to go over the redstone, and then we can bring it down like right here. Alright, there we go. Okay, there we go. And then we'll throw it down. Bam. Okay. And this should start to generate energy. Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah. And make sure you, like I said, there's a turn-off feature. You want to flip this lever, let the water flow down, and it will start generating steam. And you can see some of the turbines are starting to spin. So if we come back down here, you will see that we are generating a pretty good amount of energy. This is going super fast. And yeah, we pretty much got a constant flow of plasma. And make sure you don't break one of these blocks because it will flow out. We might do something at the end with that. So there you go. You got your fission reactor, your fusion reactor, and pretty much a small setup for the mod. So what else do we want to take a look at? We want to take a look at the particle accelerator because, well, that's also a very amazing thing. And I totally forgot to show you guys the recipe. So let's take a look at that. So to make a fusion reactor, you're going to need to get yourself a fission reactor, 4 elite circuits, which is quite costly, which is 6 gold, 2 advanced circuits, which requires diamond, redstone, and then, yeah, that's for 1 elite circuit. So you need to get yourself a pretty good amount of diamonds. And then around that, you want to put some steel as well. So make sure you get yourself a fission reactor, which is also expensive. Just make sure you have like 20 diamonds, because it's really heavy on the diamond. And then to make the electromagnets, you're going to need to get yourself bronze or iron and a motor. And to make electromagnet glass, you pretty much just need electromagnet and a piece of glass. And for the turbine, which we already went over, I'll go over it again, you need 4 bronze plates and a motor. And I believe that's everything we actually used. Okay, so yeah, the next thing we're going to take a look at is the particle accelerator. So we have the particle accelerator block, and then we have a block that will actually generate a particle accelerator machine for us. It's the Insta Builder, so we're going to use that to, of course, build it. And then we're going to come over here and grab ourselves a battery box, an infinite battery, and then we'll grab some wiring from here so that we can power the particle accelerator. And then, of course, you're going to want a throwaway block. We're going to use dirt to generate the antimatter, which is what you get from the particle accelerator. So we're going to need, I believe that is everything. So, and of course you're going to need a lot of the electromagnet stuff. This thing is huge. Make a day again. Alright, so this is what the particle accelerator looks like. And we're going to use the instant builder to do this. So I'm going to go pretty far because that's what it looks like. And it will be pretty big. So we're going to go over here. And we don't need to use, I recommend you build a fusion reactor and you power the particle accelerator with that. But since we're in creative, we can just use the infinite battery. So I'm going to click this, and bam, it's going to make one of these giant rings here. And this is a lot of bronze, so make sure you get a lot of that stuff. Now, you actually don't need to build it like this. Let me just show you a very small one that you could do. You can build these any size and any shape, but this is the most common shape right here. I'm going to show you guys how to build one of these. So all you really need to do, and I'm just going to build a small, like 4x4 right here, which would actually get you nowhere, so don't do this. Actually, I did it wrong. You don't have to use the glass, but I recommend you do, so you can see the particle. It's pretty cool. We want to build this on the side, so bring it up. I'm going to bring it up 1 block like so. I'm going to build a ring. I'll do a 5x5 actually, so we don't have to waste any time here. Okay, and then you're going to want to put one in the center like so. And then on the bottom and on the top, you can put the glass if you want. It doesn't really matter how you do this, as long as it has it caged in, because the you don't want the particle accelerator getting out. There's ways of getting strange matter though, which we'll get into later, but yeah, there we go. That's a very small one. You can see this is a very big one. So you actually don't need these right here, but it looks nicer if you do. So I'm going to head right here on the exact corner of it, as you can see, right there. And I'm going to hit insert the particle accelerator, because this one actually doesn't have one. And I recommend you put it on a corner because it just works out better. And how this thing works is actually going to generate a particle, and this particle is going to travel this way. It's going to hit that corner, slow down a bit, travel that way, build up speed. And once the speed reaches 100, it will actually generate antimatter. As you can see right here, there's velocity, which is speed. And it's at 0% right now because it's actually idle. So we need to hook this up to power. So I'm just going to hook this up to a battery box, and I need to make sure I turn this the right way. Alright, and then we're just going to insert an infinite battery right here. This is going to start powering it. You actually need a lever to turn this thing on, so get a lever. You can just put it right next to it. And that's pretty much all you really need. You're also going to need to get yourself some empty cells, so get yourself a pretty good amount of those. So we're going to grab some empty cells, and we're going to get a block. Anything works, but I recommend you get throwaway blocks like dirt and cobblestone to do this. You put the throwaway block or whatever you want right on the top, and then you put the empty cells right here. You can see that you can't actually put anything right here. This is actually where the antimatter is going to be generated. So once this reaches 100, it will go boom, and it will create some stuff. So we're going to turn this on, and you can see it used up 1 dirt. And you can see it's actually going to start accelerating a particle. And this particle is going to build speed. and it's pretty soon it's going to be like zoom, 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 and then it's going to generate antimatter. So right now it's at 20%. The more energy you supply this thing, the faster it's going to go. And you can see we already used almost 4 megajoules, so this thing's a power hog, so make sure you got yourself a pretty good amount of energy going. I don't know how many fusion reactors that's going to be, but I recommend you get yourself something pretty good going, or this is going to go really slow. So I'm going to stand right here, and we're going to see if it passes by. Oh, there it is. Pretty cool animation, I have to say. So I'm going to cut this until it reaches 100. Okay, guys, it's almost there, and since it's going really fast now, it's actually hitting the corners a lot more, so it's actually going to be a little bit slow at the end. But it will get there, and you can actually hear it zoom by, so that's pretty cool. We're almost there. And I think my version's bugged because it actually won't generate antimatter. It will go boom, but it won't give me anything. And once you hear that noise, it will actually use up one of these empty cells, and it will place what we call antimatter in my inventory. So you get one of these. I don't know actually which one you get. I believe you get this one right here, the smaller milligrams. That makes more sense. So yeah, you'll get this 125 milligrams of antimatter from this, and you can use this to craft a bigger amount of antimatter. So if we take a look at the recipe for this, if you put 8 of these together, you'll get 1 gram of antimatter. And you can also break the antimatter down to get more of these if we go back here. So it works as a storage block, kind of. And you can use antimatter for a lot of things. There's explosives and ICBM that take it. There's a battery box and mechanism that uses it. A really cool one, actually, if I can find it. I actually believe it's not that. I think it's electric expansion, actually. It's the quantum battery box right here. And you can see it uses 1 gram of antimatter, 8 of those, and a advanced battery box. And these are actually really cool. They're wireless and stuff, so you can transmit power wirelessly. But that's for another mod spotlight. And the next thing we're going to get into is strange matter, of course, but there's also another type of generator that we haven't gone over, and that is the let's take a look over here. That is the fulmination generator, and this uses explosives to generate power, and these are supposed to be really effective. Before we get to that, though, we actually want to take a look at something that I kind of missed, which is the steam funnel. The steam funnel is supposedly compatible with Railcraft. I just don't know how to get it to work. There's nothing that I can find on the wiki page to tell me how to do it. So if you guys know how to do it, please leave a comment in the description, and I'll actually throw an annotation in here to help you guys out. You can actually place these over the water, and then if you take a turbine, so if we grab a turbine here, you can place them on top here, and it will still funnel it through to the turbine, which is pretty cool. And these are supposed to work with Railcraft, like I said, but I can't get it to work, so I have no clue what the hell to do with that. Okay, so there are some things we missed. Let's take a look at what we haven't looked at yet, which is, we didn't do the yellow cake, and we need to do the atomic assembler. That's one we didn't do either, so those are some things we need to take a look at. And the radioactive material will actually be generated from the fusion reactor. So if you build this in the ground, sometimes you'll get this stuff popping up. It could poison you, so be careful. And the yellow cake, yeah. So like I said before, over here, you remember how with 1 uranium we can get 0.4 uranium hexafluoride DM3? Well, if you take your uranium ore and you actually process it inside of the, I believe it's the centrifuge, or not the centrifuge, but the chemical extractor. Yeah. If you put this in the chemical extractor, it's actually going to take the uranium and it's going to process it into yellow cake. And for each uranium, you'll get 3 yellow cake. And we're about to see this happen right now. And each yellow cake will actually generate 0.4 DM3, which is the same as 1 single uranium. So you get 3 times as much uranium hexafluoride if you process it inside of the chemical extractor. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Okay, before we get on to these two here, the atomic assembler and the fulmination generator, we're going to take a look at how to get strange matter, which is this red stuff right here, which looks pretty cool. we're going to need to actually make two particles collide with each other. There's another way to do it, but we're going to do the particle collision first. So I'm going to head over to the opposite corner, and I'm going to use this to generate strange matter. And this is actually when the lever comes in handy for turning off one or the other, so you can, control it however you want using redstone. I'm going to grab a particle accelerator and throw this down. And then I'm going to hook it up to another battery box with an infinite battery. So let's do that real quick. Grab some wiring. Okay, we'll throw that down. Okay, and we will, let's see, we want to stand, I think, right like that, okay. And we'll throw the infinite battery into the bottom slot. Okay, so now this is getting power. We want to get ourselves a lever. We're going to throw that down next to it, and then we need to get ourselves some dirt. And we're going to throw that in here. And we also need to get ourselves, of course, you need to get yourself some empty cells here. Now, I don't know which one's going to choose. I have no clue how this works, but I'm going to turn it on. And then this should actually collide with the other one. I'm not completely sure if we can flip the direction of this. I think they're actually going the same direction, so... Did that actually pass by? I didn't see it. Let's actually unhook this. I don't think this is going to work. I think we need to go the opposite direction. So let's try that again. We'll wrap it around. Yeah, we need to go this way. Okay. I did that a little incorrectly, but make sure they're going the opposite direction so they'll actually collide. That should do it. Okay, let's throw some dirt in here. And some of these empty cells. Turn it on. And you hear it just blew up with it. And this has a 2% chance of creating strange matter. Now, I have no idea what's going on right now. Turn it off real quick. Turn it on. Alright, and the explosion won't hurt you, so don't worry about that. And the particle will also not hurt you. I'm going to come down here and see if I can grab that. I don't know what just happened there, but... Alright, I'm going to turn this on. And you can see it burned through it like a mother. Wow. Alright, cool. And I'm going to head over here to this one. I think this one stopped working. Alright, there it goes. And these are going to collide with each other. Did that break, or am I just losing my mind here? Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, I did that right in time. Okay, and these should collide and create strange matter, but you can see it does damage, so you gotta be careful. And it's just gonna keep doing it, I guess, until we get freaking bad things happening. So I don't know if we actually got strange matter out of that, but there is a chance of getting strange matter. My version is a bit bugged, so I don't even think I even have the ability to do that. And this is just going to keep blowing up, isn't it? So we're going to shut these off. And that's why you want to make sure that it is completely filled in, or you'll get explosions. So there you go. You could do it with collision. There's also a way of doing it with an open, like an open hole, kind of like what we did with this. If you were to break out the bottom block here, it could have a chance of also doing it. So that's another way of creating strange matter. Which leads us to the atomic assembler. So, the atomic assembler is really cool. You can use, I believe it's strange matter, to create any item you want, but it uses tons of energy, and it takes a long time. Okay, so we're going to place this atomic assembler down. You can see it has a really cool block model. We're going to hook it up to some energy. We're just going to use an infinite battery box, which is going to be very effective for this. And we're just going to hook that up real quick. We're going to throw inside a infinite battery. Right, bam. That should be powered now. And what we do is we grab some strange matter. Let's just say we got some, which we haven't. Very rare to get, so you're going to need to get 8. So it's kind of hard to hold because these don't stack. So make sure you have some inventory space because, yeah, you're going to be holding a lot. So that is 6. We need 8. So bam and bam. All right, so what you do is you place the strange matter and all of these little things around the center. Like that. And then if you want to duplicate something, let's say diamond, because diamond is something that everybody wants to duplicate. You just what would that be under? I don't even know the vanilla tabs. I believe that's under materials. There we go, diamond. We're going to throw the diamond in the center. Okay, now it's going to do a process here. This takes about 180 seconds with full power, I believe. You can see we're at 1%. And since we have an infinite power supply, it's actually going to go pretty quickly, you know, considering how fast this will go. So if you're doing this in survival, it's going to take a long time. So be prepared to have either a bunch of energy or, yeah. And you're also going to need to be able to get the strange matter, which is very rare to do. Like I said, it's like a 2% chance of actually getting it from a collision. And you can actually see that there's a diamond inside here, and it's going to try to duplicate this. So after this reaches 100, we should get ourselves another diamond. Okay guys, so in order to craft actually one of these, because I didn't go over that, you actually need to, you're going to need to get yourself some steel plates, a centrifuge, and 3 elite circuits, so make sure you get those diamonds and that lapis, and of course the gold for that. And you should be able to get one of these, pretty simple. The only thing that you're going to have a hard time getting your hands on is that strange matter. But anyway, let's move on to the next type of generator, which is by far the best you can actually use in this mod, or maybe in this whole mod pack. So what we need to do is we need to get ourselves fulmination generators, and in order to craft one of these, you're going to need to get yourself 4 obsidian, 4 steel plates, and an advanced circuit. And you can actually build these several different sizes, but we're going to build the smaller one, the very basic size, and then I'll show you guys some of the bigger ones. This is the 3x3 design, so we're just going to do 3x3. We're going to keep placing these, and you can see this takes up a lot of obsidian, so make sure you go mining for obsidian. And these are kind of weird, the 3x3s, because you actually can't make a hollow center for water, and I'll explain that when we build a bigger one. So you kind of have to offset the center, and you have to place the water in the top part right here. So let's grab some water and insert that real quick. Okay, so the next thing we're also going to need to do is we're going to need to grab some wire. I like using the HV, like I said, so let's go to the electric expansion, grab some HV wire, and then what we need to do, I should have raised this up 1 block because we're actually going to wire it underneath as well, and as the top. So every side's going to have wire on it, and we're going to hook that up to a output. So we need to get ourselves another energy cube. Let's see, let's fill that in. All right, there we go, and I like things to be perfect. So we are going to first fill in the bottom, so let's get some wire in there. That should be connected all around. Let's take a look. Should have the center. Yes, I do. All right, cool. And then we're going to bring it up, and we want to connect it to the other side. So we're also going to do a 3x3 here. We're going to connect it to this as well. Connect it to this again. And we want to do all the sides, so make sure you get every block because you will be wasting potential energy. So see, and we want to get the top as well, so we'll do it around here. And the water is used to actually make sure the explosion doesn't get out of hand and actually mess up the other blocks. So the two things that I recommend you use for this is antimatter, which is part of the atomic science mod, of course. So we're just going to grab this 1 gram, and you can also use conventional grenades from ICBM. So let's grab a conventional grenade. They say on the wiki that it's not recommended to use the other grenades, that these 2 are the best. So if we throw antimatter into here, it will actually create some energy. But first we need to actually connect this up to an energy cube. So let's grab one for mechanism real quick. And this this generator will produce 480 volts. So make sure whatever you hook it up to, it has enough, it can handle it. Like with this battery box here, I believe it can only take 120. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful with what you do here because you could blow some stuff up here. So we're going to hook up the ultimate energy cube, which actually takes 480 volts. So we don't have to worry about stepping it up or stepping it down. And we can actually start generating power. So we're going to throw in one of these antimatters. And then we will watch it generate power. So this should work. Oh, and there we go. I just got blown back. And there we go. We got 849 kilojoules, which is pretty cool. And if we throw a grenade in here, and oh god, that's gonna mess some stuff up, I think. Yep, it did. No big deal. You gotta make sure you aim it in properly, because if you don't, then you could cause some problems here. Okay. And that's why the water's here, so you don't cause issues. And, oh my god, this is so derpy. You get the idea, though. This is going to generate electricity. So, if you can aim it properly... I don't know why these are so derpy, but... oh, they're like bows now. What the... They used to be different. Anyway, before I derp out anymore, you can actually build these different sizes. So, I'm actually going to build a perfect 7x7x7. And I'll show you guys how that one works. Okay, guys, I built it. That took some time, actually. So you could see we have a 7x7 by 7 fulmination generator, which is freaking hard to say. And inside, it's completely hollow, and we have a layer of water. So that's what I meant by the 3x3. You kind of have to offset it. But yeah, this should work. The bottom's hooked up. The top is hooked up. If we come down here, you can actually see that everything should be hooked up properly. Everything should be connected. So if we bring this over to a battery box, this will generate tons of energy, way more than the 3x3. So if we take one piece of antimatter, remember the one piece of antimatter generated 800 kilojoules, I believe. We come back to here and we grab, let's say, 1 gram of this, and we throw it inside of here. And that's why we have the hole on top, so we can get it inside. And that's what I meant by the 3x3. You can't really access the center if you put it in the center. So that blows up, and we should have tons of energy. We didn't get any energy. Why? What? That didn't make sense. Let's go inside when we throw this. I'm kind of confused. I don't know what just happened there, because this should work. All right, that should blow up. All right, let's see if we got any energy out of that. So it doesn't look like it's working. That's confusing. This one worked, didn't it? Yeah, we got some power out of that one. I'm a little confused, but this should work. 7x7 should be a monster, and it should produce tons of energy. I just can't show you guys for some reason. Something's really wrong with this picture here. Maybe I did it wrong. I don't think I did, because let's see. Let's take 125 and see what happens with that. This should blow up just fine. Boom. Alright, and that should definitely generate power. I don't see why it wouldn't. Okay then. So yeah, we're not getting any power, but you guys saw with the 3x3 that we can get energy by building cubes out of them. There's a 3x3, the 4x4, and I believe the 5x5, and then there's the 7x7. And I believe they have to be, I believe odd numbers work better because you get a nice centered hole. If you guys have OCD about that stuff, I recommend you do odd numbers. But yeah, I think I covered everything in the Atomic Science mod. If I missed something, please leave a comment in the description. Tell me what I missed, and next time I won't forget it. So, yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video. And it starts raining. Look at that. Ah, look at that, guys. Urgh, fucking rain. See you guys later. Peace out.